Good morning, good day. I was intuitively led to the 50th gene key, which is my sun personality and is cosmic order. The city is harmony, gift is equilibrium, shadow is corruption, and wanted to read through this time. Okay, the 50th city, harmony. The gathering of the Illuminati. The 50th city is the natural culmination of the process that occurs within the 50th gift. Creating equilibrium is an ongoing process of balancing the opposites. And eventually the slide from one side to the other becomes smaller and smaller until perfect balance is achieved. This is true harmony, a vibrational code that brings all elements within any system into perfect and permanent resonance. Equilibrium can be lost, and harmony is constant and infinite. Harmony is the true nature of the universe and everything in it. It is simply a pre-existing field that must be entered into rather than created. At the gift level, consciousness can experience individual equilibrium as part of a wider social equilibrium. Feeling a real sense of belonging in a group can induce a deep state of inner balance at a cellular level. However, at the citic level, this balance is taken much further. The 50th city produces experiences that harmonize human awareness with celestial or universal consciousness. To experience true harmony in the human body, you must first have dissolved all sense of separateness. Only then can you melt into the so-called harmony of the spheres. It is only here in the 50th city that one can really understand the higher meaning of the symbol of the cauldron. In many cultures, a cauldron has been a symbol of the forms or vessel that receives higher consciousness into itself. At the citic level, all imbalances within the subtle bodies must be destroyed in order that the cauldron of the physical body can become a vacuum. When this occurs within the DNA of a human being, the body becomes a deep resonant chamber for the highest universal frequencies. Such frequencies actually have the effect of dissolving the body itself so that the true cauldron is experienced as the universe. In some cultures, the cauldron has been seen as a great drum, and the movements of the planetary and stellar bodies are the rhythms placed upon this drum. It is also through the 50th city that we see the true underlying nature of human society, that we humans are fundamentally elements of music. From the level of the 50th city, everything experienced as music. Individual lives are notes threaded along a universal score that gradually becomes sweeter and sweeter to the ear as evolution reveals deeper and deeper harmonies. This higher social harmony will progressively reveal itself as human beings move beyond the domain of shadow consciousness and realize the harmonic blueprint that underlines all human civilization. As this is realized, the manifested as divine synarchy, spoken of in the 44th city, this codon awakens through the human genome, and we human beings will become aware of the harmonic geometries of the higher evolutions. The higher subtle bodies of humankind are designed to self-organize into potent and coherent formations of awakened beings. This is the ring of Illuminati at work. Humanity has always sensed the presence of the Illuminati or the chosen ones. We have woven them into our legends, dreams, and even our conspiracy theories. However, the Illuminati are a commonly misunderstood ideal. The term does indeed refer to a higher evolution of celestial beings or ascended masters, and those beings are not separate from us. They are our higher nature personified. As your higher bodies transmute your lower instincts and emotions, so you come into the frequency field of their higher harmony. This field draws you into itself and gradually transforms your cellular DNA into its highest mode of functioning. We now live in the time of the gathering of the Illuminati, a time of unprecedented planetary change. As the awakening becomes progressively more widespread, the awakened higher bodies of individuals will come into a heightened communal harmony that quickens the frequency of the whole humanity. Eventually, the Illuminati will assimilate all human beings into its ranks, and humankind will eventually experience itself as a single unified cosmic being. When the 50th city begins to break through in human beings, an all-powerful current of harmony begins to shower the people with whom they are allied. Deep and hidden issues are brought to the light in order that social equilibrium can occur. As the city occurs in one human being, it triggers the gift in all those around them, because the power of the celestial frequency drags consciousness out of its lower manifestation at the shadow field. Through this 50th gene key, humanity is designed to arrive at cosmic harmony. Although such a concept will require a sustained period of equilibrium before the scales finally activate the higher harmony, we know this higher harmony as oneness with God. The 50th city holds another secret, which happens to be the basis of all transformation, and also the particular prevalence for cellular mutations of DNA across all species. This 50th gene key represents a tipping point in all transformational processes. Its presence always signifies a quantum leap from one state to another. People with this gene key in their hologenetic profile can therefore catalyst considerable shifts in consciousness of those around them. A single person manifesting this city marks a turning point in the whole of human evolution. Because of its genetic pairing with the third city, each time the 50th city appears in the world, it precedes a cellular mutation in humanity. One way of predicting this shift is to look for an increase in the appearance of social hierarchies, groups of self-empowered people working creatively together without the limitation of a hierarchy. These are the early signs that the 50th city may have already be appearing in the world. Remember that the original Chinese name for the 50th hexagram of the I Ching was cosmic order, and this is precisely what the 50th city brings to humanity. All human individuals should take part from the message contained within the 50th city, along with the 6th city of peace. It is one of the true master keys governing and protecting human destiny. Beneath the veneer of your outer life, harmony prevails, even though you may not be able to see or feel it. The blueprint of your awakening is held secretly within the vaults of the 50th city. The deep laws of the cosmos, epitomized by this 50th city, governs everything that we humans do in the world, from our loftiest sacrifices to our most despicable acts. Whoever you are, your acts gradually move you towards divine harmony over the course of your life. For most of us, there will always be moments when we touch upon the echo of this great harmony deep inside us. For some, the harmony will become a habit, born of a love of freedom and a vision of cooperation. If there's one thing you can say about this 50th city, is that it grows in power. It will orchestrate groups and communities, human beings, into a beautiful symphony in which we become the instruments, and consciousness itself is the music that plays through us. The 50th gift, equilibrium. The nature of self-organizing intelligence. To understand the 50th gift, it is to see a great hope for humanity arising in the years to come. Within the 50th shadow lies a hint of this hope in the form of a new social model that must lie beyond hierarchy. If the data passing through the human brain is corrupted via the 50th shadow, then one must ask the question, what does it look like when it is uncorrupted? The answer is that within every human being is an inherent code for creating harmony, both on an individual level and on a global level. Here in the 50th gift is found the inner fulcrum upon which balances the quality of our lives and our future possibility for world peace. As the gift of equilibrium, this 50th gift also holds the key for deep inner peace. No single gene key can be truly understood without an understanding of all the other gene keys, which is why it is so important to come to know the essence of each one. A single molecule of DNA contains every one of the 64 gifts in archetypal chemical form. So every one of them also has a resonance within your being at some level. It is interesting to note the relationship between the 50th gift of equilibrium and the 59th gift of intimacy. In a certain sense, one could say that the 50th gift holds the blueprint of the equilibrium, while the 59th implements it. You can also follow this connection into the shadow consciousness to find the deep connection between the 59th shadow of dishonesty and the 50th shadow of corruption. Intimacy is the key to manifesting equilibrium in the world. Intimacy in this context refers to honesty and interactions with others. The vital role of honesty is to create a clean group aura in which all hidden agendas are laid on the table. Without this, no true equilibrium can ever be reached. Carl Jung said, nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment, and especially on their children, than the unlived life of the parent. This is highly relevant to the 50th gift, which has much to do with the way in which values are passed on from one generation to another. Repressed secrets or emotions lying between the parents will emerge through the life of a child, creating an atmosphere of unrest, unless both parents take responsibility for the manifestation themselves. Obviously, most parents do the opposite and assume it is the child that needs fixing, helping, or disciplining rather than themselves. This universal law applies particularly to children in the first 7 years of their lives. Beyond this phase, behavior is fully imprinted, and the child may indeed need some form of deep understanding to shed the emotional load that has been unconsciously placed upon his or her shoulders. Through attending to the mirror of their child's behaviors, parents with children under the age of 7 have a golden opportunity to clean the aura of their relationship and bring deep-seated equilibrium into their family. This same law can be applied to larger social groups, businesses, and entire communities. At high frequencies, the 50th gene key creates powerful ripples and electromagnetic currents that have the remarkable effect of bringing groups into equilibrium. Wherever the 50th gift is found in a person, a point of equilibrium exists within the fabric of a social group, be it a family, a business, or even across a whole race. Those people who carry the 50th gift as a prime gene key have a great responsibility in the world. If the cauldron of the 50th gift represents the social values of a particular community or family, then the role of the 50th gift is to balance the ingredients in the pot in order to create a state of equilibrium. These people are like cooks who know exactly how to read the needs and requirements of any group and adjust the ingredients accordingly. Although this gift sounds a complex one, requiring a host of interpersonal skills, the truth is that these people can create harmony in a group without even thinking about it. Their true power is rooted in the high frequency that moves through their aura. We have seen that the 50th gift holds a kind of genetic blueprint for social equilibrium. Because of this, it is a deeply complex archetype. Maintaining social equilibrium involves fulfilling the needs of both the individual and the group as a whole. In this capacity, the vision that the 50th gift holds is based upon the notion of heterarchy, a social model beyond hierarchy, and discussed in more depth in the 45th gene key. In a nutshell, heterarchy is based upon the principle that if an individual is not in balance, then the group has no chance of finding balance. Heterarchy thus places individual equilibrium before all else. It does this through encouraging a process of individual creative empowerment where each individual is given an extraordinary gift. Trust. By trusting the individual to take responsibility for his or her own contribution to the group, a very powerful energy field builds within the group. Within the heterarchal model, the 50th gene key, programming partner, and codon group also come into play in an important way. The third gift of innovation engenders the spirit of playfulness and creative freedom that allows the heterarchy to empower itself. Only when individuals are trusted with their own freedom does a community truly begin to radiate health. The third gene key actually governs individual cell mutation within the human body. On a social level, this translates as the empowerment and harmonization of the whole group, one cell at a time. Group equilibrium is also enhanced through the 44th gene key and its gift of teamwork, while together with the 50th gift forms the basis of a heterarchal model. True equilibrium and teamwork is always a self-organizing phenomenon that can never be successfully imprinted through external control. Herein lies the great secret of humanity's future, collective harmony. It can only be achieved through individual freedom and trust in the self-organizing intelligence that emerges from that freedom. I'm going to now read the 50th shadow, corruption. Lost in translation. For millennia, the wisdom of all human cultures has suggested an incredible possibility that the microcosm actually reflects the macrocosm and vice versa. As the famous mystical axiom states, as above, so below. If this is true, while to the holistic mind would seem logical, then deep within the human body, we should be able to find the answers to existence itself. Indeed, the gene keys themselves are founded upon just such a suggestion, that within these 64 genetic building blocks of DNA can be found an archetypal code that explains who we are and where we are headed, both as individuals and as a species. Ensuring from the suggestion, it would appear that certain archetypes within the human genome also have powerful links to other aspects of genetics as it governs the inner process through which life is created and maintained. The 50th shadow stands out in particular as an archetype that mirrors a process in genetics known as transcription. The 50th shadow is the shadow of corruption. More often than not, we think of political and social corruption, where these in positions of authority misuse and abuse their power for the purpose of personal gain. In examining the 50th shadow, however, we need to consider the word corruption in another context, that of data corruption. Data corruption is the expression that denotes the incorrect translation of computer data during transmission or retrieval. Even though the 50th shadow has to do with the social values of human beings, by thinking of corruption in this more impersonal way, we can understand the word at a far deeper and more objective level. In life, there are natural laws that govern human beings. An example of our tendency to operate in hierarchies, behaviors, which is born out of our mammalian ancestry. As well as these natural laws, there are man-made laws that attempt to maintain a certain level of order within our societies. It is because we still operate out of a hierarchical consciousness that we need such social laws to govern our hierarchies. However, social hierarchies create a climate of deep division among human beings, since they give birth to comparison. which in turn leads to greed, desire, jealousy, and inevitably social corruption. The human tendency to operate in hierarchies derives from our need to compete with each other, which comes from an older part of our brain that favors individual survival, or at best, tribal survival. The shadow frequency is created out of these archaic aspects of human awareness that are based on fear. However, other possibilities exist as the human brain thankfully continues to evolve. At the level of the gift frequency, this 50th gene key sees an entirely new reality for human social interaction, one which is currently in the very earliest stages of manifesting in the world around us. At the shadow frequency, data that is processed by the human brain is translated through the medium of fear. As this occurs, the data is corrupted, leading to a slanted manifestation in the world. In genetics, this 50th shadow has much to do with the way in which RNA copies DNA. RNA is a chemical substance similar to DNA whose role is to transcribe aspects of your genetic code in order that new proteins can be formed. In other words, RNA is a messenger that reads and copies the instructions for life. In the process known as transcription, messengers can be misinterpreted before they are translated. This is exactly what occurs within human society. Fear causes misinterpretation, leading to a reaction from one party, which triggers the same fear and a counter reaction in another party. The result is chaos, the third shadow and programming partner of this 50th shadow. The ancient Chinese name of the 50th hexagram in the I Ching is generally interpreted as cosmic order, and its symbol is a cauldron. The sages of old evidently understood the archetypal role of the 50th shadow at its highest frequency. When the frequency running through a whole society decreases, chaos and corruption rule. There are many examples of isolated societies and tribal groups that lived at a high frequency and enjoyed a peaceful existence. However, problems occur when different races, families, and customs converge and try to live in the same general territory. It is then that the old fearful brain thinking once again springs into action. This fear misinterprets and corrupts data. Corruption can therefore be understood as the symptom of a collectively created reality. Corruption requires hierarchy in order to exist, and hierarchy is a low-frequency attempt to maintain order within a community. By and large, the moment you create a law, one might say that you also create a rebel. As we have seen from the metaphor of DNA and RNA, this whole issue of corruption is born of erroneous translation of natural law. The 50th gift at its highest frequency holds the blueprints of all human harmony, and through a process of flawed transcription rooted in the old parts of our brain, this equilibrium cannot occur. This process can be understood even more deeply through the 44th shadow of interference, which, together with the 50th, creates a chemical bridge in our DNA, forming the codon ring known as the Ring of Illuminati. The 44th shadow sets up an interference pattern that directly leads to social misinterpretation. One can see how deeply involved this 50th shadow is with the complex world we see around us today. Because of the speed at which technology has evolved, different races with different laws, beliefs are thrown together into collective cauldron. Despite the speed of our technology revolution, the old hierarchy consciousness still pervades across continents and cultures, giving rise to a kind of international hierarchy ruled by the wealthiest countries. At the shadow frequency, this elite hierarchy is often perceived as a secret world government bent on controlling the world, a dark kind of conspiratorial Illuminati. The world we see through the news headlines is actually a world that is struggling to move beyond the 50th shadow. Corruption is rife through the social, political, and economical systems across our planet. The wealthiest countries are trying to maintain global equilibrium through hierarchy control, whilst at the same time being riddled with their own corruption. Almost everywhere one looks, the fear-based thinking of the 50th shadow is at work. However, as we humans will eventually learn, you can never tackle corruption by targeting individuals, individual groups, or even individual countries. To restore equilibrium on this planet, we must look deeper than the corruption itself. Corruption is merely the byproduct of a deeply flawed worldview, and until one of the core problems, hierarchy itself, is tackled. I'll say that again. Corruption is merely the byproduct of a deeply flawed worldview, and until one of the core problems, hierarchy itself, is tackled, corruption will and must continue to flourish. The repressive nature, overloaded. The 50th shadow of corruption creates two types of human beings: those who are victims of the hierarchy, either through reaction or submission, and those who take advantage of it for personal gain. Those who submit to hierarchy are those who fear it, and in such people, this fear creates repression. These people are overwhelmed with the weight of the world and with the responsibility of protecting those closest to them. They are the victims of the hierarchy itself and form the great majority of those caught up in the system. Unable and unwilling to escape the system, they usually live lives in which their dreams are compromised due to their perceived social responsibilities. This low frequency creates a stalemate because it is in their dreams that their creativity resides. Only when the deep fear is faced can their creativity force an outlet for them to transcend the system. The reactive nature, irresponsible. Those who take advantage of the hierarchy are as much victims of the system as those whom they take advantage. In such people, the fear emerges as unconscious anger, which can be expressed either up the hierarchy at the leaders or down to those below. These people are irresponsible in the sense that they feel they are not accountable for the results of their actions. They are the empire creators, the industrialists, the competitive businessmen and women who are obsessed only with gains and status. They are also rebels, criminals, and corrupt officials at all levels of society. Collectively, these people are the expression of the ugliness inherent in all hierarchy, even though they live out such lives, for the most part, unconsciously. That is the 50th gene key. Personally, that is my sun personality. It makes up the ring of Illuminati, 44 and 50, and its programming partner, which is also my North Node personality, is the 3rd gene key. Equilibrium can be lost, and harmony is constant and infinite. These people can create harmony in a group without even thinking about it. And the higher subtle bodies of humankind are designed to self-organize into potent and coherent formations of awakened beings. Thank you for listening.